Hilchos Chanukah, Perek Dal Halacha Yud Beis, Mitzvah Ner Chanukah, Mitzvah Chavivohi, Ad Moed. Go to the Pirush. The Rambam says it's a very, very special mitzvah. There, we don't find it in the Divrei Chazal's beloved. The Maggid Mishnah cites Shabbos 23b, Amar Avhuno, that somebody who does the Ner Chanukah, they don't have children who are Talmidei Chachomim. What does it mean? Just to light it? Or it means to sit at it? Rashi explains Ner Shabbos and Ner Chanukah. So, not only Ner Chanukah. One should point out, why does Rambam doesn't mention Ner Shabbos as the beloved? Maybe he learned the Gemara Ner Chanukah, well, not like Rashi. But still, that we should learn from this the greatness of its reward, but not that it itself is a beloved mitzvah. There are those of our times who explain that Gemara establish only Bonim Talmidei Chachomim. You see how much it's beloved before, maybe it means before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, more so than before us, even though it doesn't mention it in the Rambam that way. That we therefore have light in our own lives of having children who are Talmidei Chachomim. So a person should be very careful in order to let the miracle of Chanukah be known. And and he should put in he should increase the shevach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and thanks to him. The question is, every mitzvah we have to be very careful. Why does he specify only Ner Chanukah? Furthermore, why he says therefore? What does that have to do with because we're chovev? Even if it wasn't chovev, you have to do it. In the Farshim, many of the later commentaries and those who are thinkers state that there's a chiddush in this mitzvah. Every mitzvah has special hidden reasonings and intents and simple explanations, like we find in the Chanukah. He tries to explain every mitzvah, even though you have to keep it for the mitzvah, but he tries to explain the reason. But that's not the reason, even though that's the reason for it, that doesn't say how the mitzvah should be done. Ner Chanukah outwardly is where it is inwardly. In other words, since the nest is about the Chanukah left, right? We praise to Hashem, therefore we do it with Chanukah left. And he says we have to praise Hashem and to thank him and the nisim that he did for us. And many achronim cite that the added shvach is a portion which cannot be separated from the mitzvah. Even somebody who lights without saying anything is Mekayim mitzvah, but if he says Haneros Halolu and he says Shvach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's a greater mitzvah. What does he mean that he has to mention and be careful in the mitzvah? It doesn't mean keeping it, but to let people know it's Chanukah. It's a time that you feel, especially here in Eretz Yisrael, we feel it much more so than those people who are in Chutz La'aretz. The Torah says, since the Nes Chanukah happened, therefore they said you should light with candles every night to remember the Nes of the Shemen. And a person should be careful, very carefully, very especially so. Even a poor man has to participate, and whoever does keep Ner Chanukah will have children Talmidei Chachomim. And he doesn't mention the obligation of mentioning the Nes and adding the praise to Hashem. Shulchan Aruch states you should be very careful when it looks Ner Chanukah. Rabbi Agoyla cites this Rambam, but the Shulchan Aruch doesn't mention that it's choviv and the aspect of having children Talmidei Chachomim. The Rambam continues. And the Rambam says if a person doesn't have what to eat and he only, except from what he takes from a tzedakah, he borrows, or he sells his garments and he buys it. The Maggid Mishnah cites the Hilchos Chametz Matzah with regard to the four cases. that the Racham required him to have 4 koises, still he has to borrow for that. Certainly, the Ner Chanukah is greater than Kiddush Hayom. See how great the Chshivas of the mitzvah is, more so even than Dalar Koises. Lechem Mishnah asked the question, wait a second, Dalar Koises should be similar to Ner Chanukah, that it's also B'Suminissa. Why does the Maggid Mishnah say that Ner Chanukah is that more so? The Meiser Rikeach wants to explain it doesn't mean that the Dalar Koises are to make known the miracle, but that it means that at 4 koises you don't see the nest itself, and you still have to borrow for it. Ner Chanukah, where you see the actual nest, then that's why you're reminding the actual nest. And he questions Lechem Mishnah, why does he think that by Dalar Koises is Pesuminissa? It's more of an Ian of feeling the aura of being a free man and having other aspects of Yetzias Mitzrayim with it. And he cites from Hilchos Chometz Matzah that the Dalar Koises is because of Cheros, being a free man. The Rambam says so specifically in Perek Zayin. In the Tshuvas Shvus Yaakov, he's medayik from the Beis Yosef. Yeah, the Beis Yosef copies the words of the Maggid Mishnah, and he doesn't write Kol Shkein, but he doesn't say certainly so. Meaning the Maggid Mishnah didn't mean like the understanding of the Lechem Mishnah. And also the Eliyahu Zuta questions the same question that the Lechem Mishnah says, why is Chanukah more important than Dalar Koises? And he answers that the Maggid Mishnah is the opinion that Ner Chanukah, because on Pesach there's other things that which will tell you about the Chag, such as Matzah, Mora, Agoda. Therefore, Ner Chanukah, which is one thing for it, is all inclusive. Therefore, it's more important than Dalar Koises, which are only part of the Seder night. The Shus Yaakov questions, why did the Gemara say that Ner Chanukah is more than Kiddush Hayom because of Pesumei Nissa? Because Kiddush Hayom is more Zikoron Anes. He's made HaKadosh Baruch Hu created on Shabbos when he makes Kiddush, made the world in 6 days, and he rested on the 7th day. What's a greater ness than that? To make something from nothing, and with just by stating something, and the fact that there was no room for the world to be created. He's saying, and God, Kivyochel, Hashem, minimized himself to make place for the world. And he answers, Ner Chanukah is greater because he does it outside. It's for others. Kiddush Hayom is for yourself. That's a big message. And therefore the Maggid Mishnah says, Ner Chanukah is a kol shkein, because it's for others, it's not only for yourself. The Bi Agro cites that the Mekor of Psochim, he shouldn't do less than that, and only has to get money for Dalar Koises. The Gemara says certainly so, and the answer is according to Rabbi Akiva, who says a person should not make Kiddush on Shabbos rather than borrow money. And the Be'er Eliyahu learns that even though Rabbi Akiva says make your Shabbos a weekday, do not go and ask for things from your fellow creatures, fellow beings. Has to be careful with Dalar Koises. We see this that for a little bit to have on Shabbos, you have to ask for it. What Rambam says Shoyolei Moicha is because he said Shabbat Chachor, you can make it a weekday rather than a special day and do not ask for money. We learn that a certain amount for Shabbos you have to do. And we say there that Yayin Lakiddush is before Kovat Hayom, meaning if it's a question of buying Yayin or food, Yayin V'Kiddush at night, Yayin Lakiddush is more important than the meal by day. And the meal by night or the meal at night of the Suda. Since that with a small amount you can do for the Kovad HaYoim, you have to go on a Psochim. Certainly, for Kiddush, you should have to go for on a Psochim. And the Gemara said that Ner Chanukah is before Kiddush HaYoim. That if a person has money only for one thing, he has to do Ner Chanukah. So we see that a person should sell his garments for Ner Chanukah. Torah Sameach, first in the Rambam, you buy oil and candles that you have to add to it. Not only one candle, but rather oil and the receptacle to put it in. Because otherwise you should say just oil. And we find that a person should add in the praise of Hashem and in the thanks to Him for the miracles that He did for us and that He does for us. This is even if you, meaning if a person is mahadim and a mahadrin, if he doesn't have what to eat, he should, in other words, because he's going to add candles, he should add candles anyway. But the Yo Rabbo is obligated to ask and go on a psochim only for one ner. That you need Medikah Din. Brewer Paskins that only for one ner is one obligated to sell his garment or work to fulfill his obligation.